Pause for a second. Look at this commercial. The camera work, the lighting transitions, the narrative arc. This wasn't shot. There's no camera, no crew, no location scouts. This entire commercial came from inside this automation. Here's what I mean. This is just a car photo from the internet. Nothing special. Watch what happens when I drop it into the system. So let's click execute workflow. Our form is going to pop up. So we're going to drag and drop the photo, this photo, into this system. So we'll drag and drop it. Now for the duration, let's choose 24 seconds. For the ad description, let's say, surprise me. Let's see what it comes up with. Then let's hit submit and the system will fire up. So this image is going to be uploaded to an image hosting service that's going to give us access to a public facing URL. We're going to calculate the number of scenes based on the duration, and then we are going to analyze the car photo. Next, it's going to go to this creative director AI agent, which is going to come up with the creative direction. It's then going to fire up this VEO 3 image to video generator. So we're going to take the image of the car along with the prompts on how it's supposed to come up with each scene, and the VEO 3.1 generator is going to generate the scenes. Next, we're going to stitch the individual scenes together using this node, and finally we're going to download the video. So let's see what it came up with. Well, that's the video it came up with. Looks pretty amazing. So now let me walk you through the whole system. So here's the cost breakdown for a 24 seconds long video. So VEO 3.1 is going to cost 90 cents. Gemini 2.5 Pro, the image analysis model. Gemini 2.5 Pro, the image analysis model, is going to cost roughly $0.04 per image. And the FFmpeg, now stitching the videos together, is going to cost 0.0408 per run. And the model that's responsible for doing the creative direction is going to cost 0.05 per run. And the total cost will add up to 96 cents for a 24 seconds long video. If you're new here, I'm Alex, and this is what I do at Loopsera. We build this kind of systems for businesses. The ones that actually save time and make money, not just look impressive. If you're sitting there thinking, I need this for my company, but I don't know how to build it myself, that's literally what we do. Links in the description. And look, if you've been watching my tutorials, trying to build your own automations and you're stuck, or just want someone to walk you through it, I'm doing one-on-one coaching now. Yeah, so it's actual hands-on help with your specific use case. Links below. Oh, and this workflow, the complete JSON with all the prompts, all the configuration, it's free in my school community. So this is my free school community. You're going to get the workflow in the YouTube resources section. All you've got to do is grab it and simply import it to your n8n canvas. And the way you're going to do this is you're going to click on the three dots in the top right corner. You're going to click import from file, and it's going to show up on your canvas. Now, let me walk you through the whole system. So this system is being triggered by a form submission. So this is a form submission. And this is where we upload the image, the description, and how long we'd like the ad to run. If you don't know how to add the form submission trigger, you'll click on this plus button in the top right corner, and you're going to click add another trigger, and you're going to select on form submission. Or if you haven't added a trigger, this list is going to show up in the right menu. And now once you've added the node to your workflow, this is the configuration. So we don't have any authentication. This is the form title. You will add a description over here, and then we are asking for the add duration. So the field name here is a drop down. So if you're adding this trigger for the first time, you're going to see this add form element button. You're going to click it to add a form element, and you're going to give it a name, and you're going to choose the type. So this is how I chose the drop down type. Now for the other form fields, we've got, so once I clicked the drop down, I added the options. So 24, 32, 40, 48. The reason why it's in multiples of 8 is it's because VEO 3.1 only generates videos 8 seconds long. And then we had an add description of element type text. Next, we added an upload car photo, so of element type file. And we allowed multiple files, and all these are required fields. And what this means is you can't submit this form if you haven't filled all these 3 fields. Next, we'll need to upload the photo to a media management solution like Cloudinary, so that we can get a public-facing URL. So this is the photo we uploaded, and so this is, let me take you to the website. So it's cloudinary.com. This is the website. You're going to set up an account with them. So in my case, since I had already set it up, I'll need to log in. And so we'll need to set up credentials with Cloudinary. So you'll click Create New Credential, and it appears we'll need the cloud name, the API key, and the API secret. So you'll go back to Cloudinary. On the left menu, you'll navigate to the settings section, and then you are going to scroll all the way to the top, and then you're going to click on the API keys. And then here you'll get your cloud name, you'll get your API key, and you'll get your client secret. You just need to click on this reveal button over here, and you're going to copy the API secret. You'll go back to n8n, paste your cloud name, API key, and API secret here, and then click save. I had already done that, so I won't do it again. And then it's going to show up in the credentials list right here. You're going to select it. Under the resource, you're going to select upload. The operation is going to be upload file. And here we are giving the name of the input file. So it's this right here. So upload car photo. And then under the resource type, we are selecting image because we're uploading an image. Once we upload an image, we're going to get our public-facing URL, this right here. And next, we are going to calculate the number of scenes. Remember, in our input form, in the drop-down list, we only have the durations. But how do we convert the durations into the number of scenes? So if a user selects 24 seconds, that means we need 3 8-second long scenes. So that's what this code node is doing. It's dividing the duration by 8 seconds to get the number of scenes. And the way you add it, you just click on the plus button. You're going to search for a code node, and then you'll copy and paste this code. And basically this code divides the duration selected from the form by 8 seconds to get the number of scenes. So next we've got the analyze image node from Gemini. So you're going to search Gemini in your right menu, click on it, and then you're going to select analyze an image. And here we want to fully analyze the image. So we want to check the colors, we want to check the subject type, the lighting, all this. You're going to go through this in detail once you get this workflow. So the colors, the distinctive, the lighting, the distinctive details, the person, and all that. And it's going to output in a YAML format. So here's the description it came up with. Next, we are going to add an AI agent. So you'll search for an AI agent. And here's how you're going to set it up. So from the previous nodes, we had the form submission, the Cloudinary upload photo, the code node, and the analyze car photo node. So we're going to drag and drop the car description from the analyze image node, the number of scenes from the code node. The add creative suggestion is the suggestion the user gave in the form. And then this is the system message. So here we are giving it how it's supposed to generate the scene description, so the prompt for each scene. And we're giving it the inputs, and we are giving it a smart contextual fallback. So if you say surprise me or be creative, or you don't even give a description, this is what it's going to do. So it's going to categorize the car. If you upload a performance car, let's say a Lamborghini, it directly knows that it's supposed to, so the creative direction is supposed to lean towards performance. So it's going to generate a video prompt for VEO 3.1 that's in that direction. And then here we are specifying, here we're giving it an example. Here we're giving it an example and the output structure over here. So if you look on the right window, you'll see the output it came up with. So this is the output it came up with. And next, so we want to split out the three scenes so that VEO 3.1 can generate them independently. So we'll use a split out node, and we are splitting out the scenes. And so here are the scenes that were split out. Next, we've got the limits. This node was used during building phase. So instead of running all three scenes all together, we could run one scene and then feed it into the VEO 3.1, see how it performs, adjust our prompt, and do the iteration until the video is perfect. So that's why we had this limit node right here, but we're going to deactivate it. So it's deactivated because now we only want to generate the three scenes and stitch them together into one final video. One thing I forgot to mention about the creative director, it has a specific, so we added a structured output parser and we gave it the structure. So this is the structure, and we said we need to auto-fix the format. So in case it fails to output in this format, it's going to use AI, which is going to direct it to output in this format structure we've just give it. And the way you do it is you just check this require specific output format button. And then the chart model we are using is Claude Sonnet 4.5, and we're using Open Router. So if you're unfamiliar, so this is Open Router. So you're going to set up an account. Next, we've got this the VEO 3.1 API, and this right here is an execute another workflow node. So you're going to select execute sub workflow, and we've basically built another workflow it's supposed to call. So let me open the sub workflow. So this is the sub workflow, and the way we built it is we just created a new workflow, and then we added a when executed by another workflow trigger. It's under the add another triggers option, and it's going to be here. So when executed by another workflow. So we need to feed it the prompts, the video prompt, the aspect ratio, the image URLs, and the generation type. And we are accessing VEO 3.1 API using key. So it's key.ai. And if you go to the API market and navigate all the way to VEO 3.1 API, so this VEO 3.1, if you go to the API documentation section, you'll see we need the prompt, we'll need the image URLs, and we'll need to specify the model. Now, if you go to our when executed by another workflow trigger, here's how we added this. So we selected the input data mode as defined using fields below, and then we clicked add field. So for each field, we gave it a name and a type. So we selected the type here. And these are the fields we added. So we've got the video prompt, which is of type string, the aspect ratio, also a string, the image URLs, an array, the generation type as a string. And this is what it was fed. Let's look at the last run. Let's copy it to editor. So you'll notice that this is the last run that this workflow executed. So once we've set up the trigger, next it's going to go to the submit generation request node. So from the key API, we need to first submit a task using this endpoint. So the method is post. The authentication is generic credential type, and it's of header auth. And here's the header auth. Now, the node we've used here is what we call a HTTP request node. And if you open it, under the method we said it's post. Here's how we will set up these credentials. So we are going to click generic credential type. We're going to click header auth from this drop-down list. And then here, since you don't have a key authentication, you're going to select create new credential. And you'll notice we'll need to rename our credential. So we'll maybe call it key, give it a relevant name, and then under the name and value, we'll go back to key dot. So we'll go back to key, and if you navigate to, if we go to, so if you go back to the markets, if you go back to the markets, you are going to, on the left menu, you'll see API key. Here's where you're going to grab your API key. So you'll click create API key. You'll click create API key, name your API key, then click create, copy the API key that you get, and then if you look at the documentation, you'll notice, so under the authentication, so for the name, we'll use authorization. So you'll copy this, go back to your workflow, paste it there. Now for the value, you're going to toggle the expression mode. You're going to copy this bearer, paste it here, add a space, and then paste your API key here, then click save, and then it's going to save. So in my case, I had already set this up, so I'm not going to do it again. So let's close this, and then it's going to appear in your drop-down list. You're going to select the API that you just, so you're going to select the credential you just created, and then the content type, you're going to select JSON. So you're going to toggle the send body, and then you're going to click JSON. So you'll specify the body, and you'll select using the fields below. Then you're going to add the prompt. So prompt is one of the fields you need in the body, and then you're going to drag and drop the field, the prompt field from the execute another workflow node. And then you're going to select you're going to add the model. So you're going to specify it's VEO 3 first. Aspect ratio, you're going to select it from the when executed by another workflow. You're going to do the same for the image URLs. And then for the generation type, you're also going to do the same. And then enable fallback, you're going to leave it as true. Next, you're going to add another HTTP request node. So once we've submitted our video for generation, we'll need to check if it's done processing it. So that's why we've got this get request status node. Credentials will stay the same. Then the endpoint we're using is this, and the method is get. and we're just feeding it the task ID from the previous node. So here's the task ID. We'll drag and drop it. We'll drag and drop it from this submit generation request. So task ID. And once we've got the task ID, it's going to give us the status. We're going to route it according to the status it gives us. So it might say it's completed. It might say it's completed. So once it's completed, it's going to go down this route. It might fail. So it might go, so it will go down this route. And then it might say it's retrying. So retrying means it's still generating. So it will go down this retry route here. So this is a switch node. And if you check the status using the previous HTTP request node, you're going to have a look at this success flag. It generates different numbers to specify different generation statuses. So for example, number 1 means the generation was completed. So this will be 1. So the generation is completed. If this number changes to 3, it means it failed. If it changes to 2, it means it also failed. And if this number is 0, it means it's still generating the video. So you'll just drag and drop this field right here and all the other fields. And when you add this switch node, it's going to be empty. So the way you add these routing rules, the way you add these routing rules is by clicking add routing rule, and then you rename them by toggling the rename outputs right here. So if the status is retry, we're going to add a wait node. So you're going to wait for 5 seconds, and then you're going to set the task ID. So remember, if it goes down this route and goes to this HTTP request node, so it's going to read the task ID from this node. But what happens if we need to retry? So remember, once we enter this loop, whatever information that was stored before the loop, it's going to get lost. So we'll need to get the task ID from this node right here. So it's going to be transferred to this switch node and then down to this wait node. And here we are fixing the output so that this output matches exactly as this output. So you'll notice the output from this submit generation request is data.task_id. So anything that's in brackets is a dot whenever you're referencing an output in an expression. So it's data.task_id. If there's another bracket inside this, it would be dot that. So we are fixing it so that it now can read data from this node and this node. And then when the generation is completed, it will go down this route. And here we only want to extract the URL of the complete video. So we'll feed it the result URL. And then we'll drag and drop the URL. So from the left menu, you'll see the switch node. You'll notice we've got the result URLs. And then we'll drag and drop it there. And that's it with the VEO 3 API. You'll notice from the left, we are dragging and dropping the video prompts from this right here. And then the aspect ratio, we are hard coding it as 16:9. And then the image URLs, we are submitting it as an array. Remember, when you drag and drop it, the image, so remember when you drag and drop the image URLs, they're going to be in form of a string. So a string simply means text, but we want it in form of an array. An array simply means a list. So remember the URL, the image URL, you're going to get it from the upload car photo node. Drag and drop the public facing URL. And then the way we convert it to an array is by adding this square brackets at that point and also at this point. And now it's an array. And then the generation type, we are mentioning that it's supposed to be a reference to video. So reference to video generation type allows us to generate videos from images. Next, we are going to aggregate all video URLs. So the video URLs we'll get from the sub workflow output, we're going to aggregate them. So we are simply going to combine them into one. That's what aggregate means. And then we're going to feed the URLs to this API endpoint. It's called ffmpeg merge videos. It's from fal, so fal.ai. This is the API we are hitting to merge the videos. So it's ffmpeg API merge videos, and it requires us to add all the URLs of the videos that we need to merge. So that's why we are feeding the video URLs. And as you can see, we are feeding the image URLs from the aggregate node. And this is also a sub workflow. And the mode, actually, something I might have forgotten. The mode is run once with all items. And for the key VEO 3 first, the mode is run once for each item. So we are going to feed one URL from the list, and then it's going to generate the video. Once it's done, we're going to feed the next URL, and so on. So for the ffmpeg, we're only feeding the video URLs and the resolution. So, and this is the sub workflow. It's pretty similar to the one we've just looked at by key.ai. There's just a slight difference. So we are using a when executed trigger, another workflow trigger, and then we are feeding the video URLs and the resolution. So we'll click add field and then add this. Next, you're going to go to the submit request, and then we are submitting the request to this endpoint. We need to set up an account. So we need to set up credentials with the file, and you're going to get your API key. So you'll need your API key. You're going to click on the logo. It's going to take you to the homepage, and then you're going to navigate all the way to manage, and then you're going to select API keys. You're going to add a key, and then here's how you'll set up. So here's how you'll set up your credentials. So you're going to rename it to file, and then you're going to use authorization. And then for the value, you're going to copy the word key, and then don't forget to add a space after the word key. So you're going to let me toggle the expression mode. So you're going to add a key, and then a space, and then you're going to paste your API key here, and then you're going to save. And then for the body, it's JSON format. Then you only need the video URL and the resolution. And then here we are checking the generation status using this node, and you are hitting this endpoint. So you're feeding it the request ID. Let's look at the previous run. So this is the past run. If we open the check generation status node, on our left, you'll see the inputs, and we are hitting this endpoint. So this right here, and then we're dragging and dropping the request ID, then a /, then status. The method is get. Then here we are selecting the credentials we just created, and then we don't even need this body parameters, so we'll turn it off. And then We'll go to our switch node, and this time round we are checking the status. So if it's completed, it will go down this route, and then failed, in queue, in progress. And then we are waiting for 5 seconds, and then it's going to go back to this check generation status. Once the video is done, we're going to get the video URL, and here's the video URL. So let's go back to our main workflow. Once we have the video URL, we are going to download it using a HTTP request node, and then we are going to select get, and then under the video URL, we'll simply get it from the previous node. We'll drag and drop it here. And that's it with this workflow. So be sure to grab this workflow and try it out for yourself. Like I said, I build systems like this for businesses. So if you want one for a business, hit the link in the description. Lastly, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to comment if you have anything to ask. And lastly, don't forget to subscribe. Have a good one.